First things first. In 2012, Valve decided to open up its platform to independent developers. Thanks to the new Greenlight system, indie projects finally had a chance to get into Steam if they attracted enough community's attention. 3 years later, Zul, a modder from France, began to test the limits of CSGO modding, and one day, using the source mods folder, he tried to port weapon models and animations from Counter-Strike source. Surprisingly, this worked quite well. He decided to continue, and the next step was the sounds and particles for shooting and explosions. Step by step, a mention of Counter-Strike Global Source appeared on the YouTube channel. And then, along with remakes of characters, models, weapons, and even maps, Classic Offensive begins. According to the creator, this mod was just a test run. Previously, he worked on mods for Team Fortress 2 and other Source games, but after the release of CSGO, he found a new ground for his experiments. In 2016, after the community's excitement and getting into the list of top mods according to the ModDB, Zul decided to try his luck and publish the project on Steam Greenlight, with the goal of publishing it as a separate app in the Valve store. It took only a few weeks for the project to get the checkmark, meaning it was in fact greenlit. Time passed, and for some reason the Counter-Strike developers began to act weirdly, first making some dubious promises and then completely ignoring the project. In a nutshell, the goal of Classic Offensive is to combine the best solutions and ideas from all Counter-Strikes into one project and create the most vanilla experience without any visual junk like skins, stickers, agents, and now keychains. But if you still wanna trade your items, check out Skins Monkey. Use code GABEN and get up to a $5 bonus. Select a few of your current skins, pick a new one in the same price range, and exchange your old and ugly CSGO items to something new and shiny from Counter-Strike 2. Use code GABEN and buy skins much cheaper with a 30 plus 5% top-up bonus. Skins Monkey, links and my code down below. It is important to note that quite a lot of people participated in the creation of this project, and sometimes I cannot bring myself to call it an ordinary mod. In my opinion, this is a full-fledged game with its own unique features. The first and most obvious thing you will see when you enter the game is of course the modified Panorama UI interface from CSGO. In the background you can see the original project art in the old school style, and in the left menu there is a tab with all the important settings. A button to start your lobby, a list of servers, and to the surprise of many, a Faceit button. In case you didn't know, at the start of this project Zul agreed to use their ecosystem for full-fledged matchmaking. And it seems that we might see an actual competitive aspect of Classic Offensive, if the mod once again attracts a huge interest and Valve doesn't get in the way. As you might have guessed, there is no and will never be ranked matchmaking by default. Zul prefers the old-school approach, where anyone could host a server and join via the list in the main menu. Before attempting to create a lobby, you should start a firing range to explore the most important changes. Right after loading the map, in addition to choosing a team, you will be able to choose your character's appearance. Your choice will affect the type of sleeves on the hands. These characters are complete remakes of classic models, and on death they use a pre-scripted animation that switches to ragdoll near the ground. Next, of course, are the weapons. Some of them use slightly updated versions from 1.6 and Source, but most of the models and animations were recreated from scratch. The balance and spread of almost all the weapons have been changed, mainly to recreate the old school feeling. Let's quickly run through the most interesting ones. Deagle, a pretty nice model with highly detailed material and improved moving accuracy. AK-47 with the bolt and bullets flying out to the left side as in 1.6. M4A1S with the same incorrect bolt and bullets to the left. At the same time, they return the old mechanic when you don't have to wait for the entire animation of putting on the silencer. The same silencer feature on the updated USPS. All sniper rifles by default have a visible scope even outside the zoom. Zoom in AUG and SG works with the help of the eyes and not attached optics. Instead of Negev, there is an M60 machine gun, the accuracy of which increases either when you stand still or crouched. Comeback of TMP with a silencer. The ability to zoom when using P90. Improved Glock. P228. Berettas. MP5 and many other models. Of course, a knife with a legendary grip and attack animations that kills the enemy with one successful headshot. The return of the shield, which knocks the weapon out of the enemy's hands and fully absorbs damage when hanging on the back. And the low grenade launcher, which can only be purchased on the T side and will blow up the enemy upon direct contact. These two items are optional and server admins can disable them using a console command. In addition, I would like to mention the grenade mechanics, which only rotate along one axis and behave completely identical to CS 1.6, flying through the narrowest spaces and even opening doors. The flash effect is visible even if it explodes behind an object. Two types of smoke grenades, which either spread instantly like in CSGO or slowly create a cloud like in 1.6. The behavior of the Molotov is taken from condition 0. It does less damage but spreads over a large area. As in the original games, all players can activate flashlights to illuminate dark spaces by pressing a specific button. And a few exclusive items that are only available in certain modes. We'll talk about those later. An important aspect of the gameplay is the return of cardboard walls that can be easily sprayed through. At the release, Classic Offensive will include 12 maps, but you will also be able to play on absolutely any map from the Steam Workshop that was intended for CSGO, which will definitely please a lot of people. Almost all maps were recreated from scratch using the classic layout from the old games. All remakes use high-quality models and HR textures that are as good as Valve's remakes, and in some cases look even better and more interesting. For example, the Mirage, which has not been updated in the main game for more than 10 years. However, my favorite one is Nuke, as it recreates the vibe of the original Half-Life, thanks to the developers of the Black Mesa remake who allowed the use of their assets. Note that on some maps, the selected game mode can open or close certain parts of the location. For example, on Dust 2, this unexpected passage appears, since it actually existed in early alphas. Speaking of the game modes, we have the classic one with the default rules from the original games. This includes defusing the bomb and of course rescuing the hostages. The competitive mode with settings from CSGO, which will probably appeal to the absolute majority of players. Condition 0, where you can purchase a grenade launcher, M60 machine gun and shield by default. A zombie mod, where at the beginning of the round one of the random players becomes a zombie and has to bite everyone else. When you kill a zombie, you refill your ammo box, which is used to instantly replenish ammunition. Team mode Kill Confirmed, where you must pick up the enemy's skull after death to confirm the kill and earn a point for your team. The most basic deathmatch with instant respawn. Insta-Gib mode, where everyone dies in one shot when you fire a blaster, and when you destroy chickens, you get a grenade to disorient and push back your opponents. Gun game with a few new and unique weapons. Elimination mode with the rescue of one of the players, when at the beginning of the round, one of the CTs becomes a VIP person, and he needs to get to the evacuation point while the Ts are trying to eliminate him. The VIP player cannot buy weapons, has a unique USPS with a flashlight, a multi-shot long-range Zeus and 200 armor. And the most important mode for me is Danger Zone. This was one of the few CSGO game modes in which I spent the most amount of time, and I really miss it in Counter-Strike 2. Classic Offensive has polished all the existing mechanics and added new items like a crowbar, igniting barrels, pushing grenades or a one-handed Beretta. This project has been in development for nearly 10 years. Technically, it exists within the Steam ecosystem, and people who got a key from Zul can run it without any problems. However, when it came to setting up and publishing the store page, Valve simply froze the approval without any comments. And after some time, the application was marked as retired, which was a huge setback and shock for the team, who had spent almost 10 years doing something cool for the community without any profit. However, after going through all the stages from denial to acceptance, the team decided to take a desperate step and release the modification outside of Steam in their own launcher, which will emulate the launch of Counter-Strike 2. The official release of Classic Offensive looks especially interesting since Valve has stopped the support of CS:GO. Considering the excitement in the community, the lack of updates and the strange silence of the CS2 developers, Classic Offensive could be a breath of fresh air, and I sincerely hope that Valve will not try to suppress the project and finally clarify the situation regarding the official release on Steam. Leave a croissant emoji in the comments if you made it this far.